to do justice on the show is Ekpo Temple. Good morning to you, Ekpo Temple, and welcome to Sports Talk.
Yeah, good morning, Kingsley. So glad to be here today.
All right, let's quickly take a look at the Niger Delta Games because Team Rivers, of course, putting up massive preparation as athletes representing Rivers State in wrestling and taekwondo have intensified preparations ahead of the forthcoming Niger Delta Games in those states, declaring their readiness to compete for top honors. The atmosphere was charged with energy and determination as athletes sweated it out on the mat during the final phase of trials. The seasons showcased not only technical skill and physical strength, but also the hunger and competitive spirit required to excel at the regional showpiece. Speaking after the trials, several athletes expressed confidence in their ability to deliver medals for the state. They promised to display class, discipline, and resilience in Edo, with their sights firmly set on claiming the converted gold medals. Coaches overseeing the sections commended the athletes for their commitment and improvement, emphasizing that only the most prepared and disciplined competitors were selected to represent the state. Meanwhile, attention moves to the powerlifting contingent as their trials are scheduled to take center stage today at the Afred Delta Spiff Civic Center, Moscow Road, Port Harcourt. Before we take a look at that, Temple, what do you make of the preparation of Team Rivers ahead of the Niger Delta Games?
I think that for River State, they've tried their best to see that preparations are geared up. In the last couple of weeks, we've been hearing about them, the team. We've been hearing about what is happening. That just recently, the Attorney General, who also supervises activities of sports, Barrister Green, inaugurated a committee, the LOC, that will be charged with responsibility to take care of these athletes as they prepare for the Edo Games. And I think that with what we have seen and the pattern of preparations, we're beginning to get more information. Usually, we don't get more information. Usually, it's been a long time we've been receiving, concurrent information from the River State camp because some of the activities were shredded in secrecy. But this year, it looks a little bit better off from what we have seen, or a departure from what we are used to seeing with Team Rivers. And I think that's the way to go. Rivers is a big name when it comes to sports activities in the Niger Delta. The last time they also got a podium finish. I hope that with the level of preparations, they are the heart of the Niger Delta and nothing should be taken for granted. So I think that the earlier you prepare, the more enhanced, and arguably the athletes are geared up. Just as they're coming out from the U-type period, they were already camped in, and for 1 month, 2 months, I think that it will be a good time for them. So for me, I'm just being optimistic. I haven't seen or heard what is happening in the camp. We heard that some of them are going what we call selection process. After then, they will look at their age. After then, they will now look at if they fall within the nationality of River State, all that. So the criteria are very simple and easygoing, and I expect that going forward, maybe we'll get to see what Rivers will have to offer. But I'm very optimistic with the level of information coming out from the camp. I'm thinking that because we know what they're doing, it makes us keep check on their activities too. So we'll just keep our finger crossed and see how far they can go.
Let's see, of course, Team Rivers can go. Can they surpass their previous performance? We hear they're preparing intensively. We just have to keep our fingers crossed, and see how it goes this time around. But we, from that, to understand that MFN Yolanda Pinnick, the 10-year-old daughter of renowned Nigerian sport administrator Amaju Mervin Pinnick, delivered a stunning performance at the inaugural World School Games Olympia 2026, winning multiple medals and solidifying her status as a rising young star in global sports. Organized as the flagship event of the World School Games Series and hosted at the world-class Aspire Zone Stadium in Doha, Qatar, the 3-day multi-sport festival brought together promising young athletes from elite international schools to compete in athletics, football, and more. Competitions were held across age groups, providing a world stage platform for youth talent to excel. MFN's landmark achievements include gold medal, which was 60 meter sprints, and we also saw her won, of course, a medal in the 4x200 meters relay, which was a gold medal as well. And in football events, where she also put up a very impressive performance down there. Temple, what do you make of it? The daughter of Amaju Mervyn Pinnick put up a very impressive performance at the World School Games.
It's funny, but I think that is good to hear that about this administrator. Now we know where the money has been going, you know. Yeah, and I think that it's good. I mean, if they are so keen to training their daughters to be good in sports, that would be fantastic. You know, at the level of the school games, she just exhibiting her talents. Look at, you talked about 100-meter dash, 60. Look about 4x10 and all that, football too. It's just for the parents now to look at her area of competitive advantage and nurture her in that direction. But I'm happy that yes, some of our administrators are really doing so well secretly, you know, in giving the awards or the kids the best of education. I'll get them to limelight. And I tell you for sure, a lot of politicking would have gone on to see this little girl come to this bitter talent. And it's good. Let's get to hear something good too from them, not something destructive every point in time. But I'm happy that she's doing so well. The only thing is, I hope that at this age that she is doing so well, not when she gets to the level of helping Nigeria now, competing strongly now, then she'll no longer have the interest. But what she's done so far, I think it's good that I will commend her, and Nigeria should encourage her. Encourage the father too, because it's not easy, you know, to see with the level of discouragement. Some parents cannot afford to see their children suffer the challenges that others are suffering. Sports sometimes is looked upon as for the poor people. Okay, those who compete in sports are poor people. That's a nonchalant mentality, you know, from the pit of hell. Because in the Western climb, sports is even for the rich, the elite, you know. And from here, because of the way welfare packages are prepared, and you don't just want to go through those rigorous challenges. You don't want to see your kids or your daughter or your son, you know, undergo, because you'll be feeling bad as a parent, especially if you're an administrator in Nigeria. So we need to encourage Pinnick with what the daughter has done, encourage the daughter too to see how far she can continue, because who knows, with what she's doing like this now at this young age, you know, the best thing is to catch them young and see how far you can nurture them, you know, and hope that they can get to the level of making Nigeria proud. Winning 4 gold at this level it shouldn't be taken for granted at all. Or winning 4 medals is something that needs to be commended, and hope that she can go further and even make Nigeria proud.
All right, representing St. Saviour's School, Ikoyi, MFM's performances helped her showcase not only her individual athleticism and versatility, but also her leadership on the field and track. Amaju Mervyn Pinnick, a respected figure in African and global football governance, former president of the Nigerian Football Federation and current vice chairman of competition of the Federation International Football Association, FIFA, expressed pride in his daughter's achievements. Pinnick, whose own leadership has been widely recognized for elevating Nigerian sports and advocating for broader infrastructure development, welcomes MFM's success as a testament to discipline, determination, and the right nurturing environment. All right, so we'll wish MFM the very best of luck in her career. But away from that, the Athletic Federation of Nigeria has named Stephen Keshi Stadium Asaba as camp base for Team Nigeria ahead of busy 2026 athletics season. The Athletic Federation of Nigeria has taken a decisive step towards strengthening the country's track and field fortunes ahead of a busy 2026 season. And they have selected the Stephen Keshi Stadium Asaba as the official camping base for home-based athletes preparing for major national and international championship. The camp will serve as the launch pad for Team Nigeria's preparation for a packed calendar that includes the World Relays Championship in Gaborone, Botswana in May, the Senior Confederation of African Athletics Championship in Accra, Ghana, and the CAA Region 2 Senior Championship in Dakar, Senegal, as well as the World Junior Athletics Championship in Oregon, United States. Asaba, to camp home-based athletes at Temple, what do you make of the state of the Asaba Stadium? You think is good enough, for these athletes to prepare for major tournament this year?
Man, I don't know why we're going back to Asaba. I must tell you. But I think that what you see just happening is the thing that they say at all nine bad pass. Okay, at all nine bad pass. Asaba is the home of Tinubu Kokowa. So arguably he might have tried to get other places, and if he feels that come on, we're losing time, and with the level of preparation that is needed, with the level of camping that is needed, logistics and all that, it is easier for him to take Asaba. It's easier for him to talk to the government of his state. It's easier for him to just go back to the home and prepare. I don't know if you get me. That's also what is playing out there. Because otherwise, Asaba is not, it shouldn't be at this level. It's too early to start with Asaba. We have Moshood Abiola Stadium, but maybe the processes of getting those places can be very difficult. Yabatek in Lagos. So I'm sure that he's looking at maybe logistic costs. He's looking at the fact that it is easier for him to get approval or get things sorted out in his home state than going elsewhere. Otherwise, Asaba recent time has not really been the best of camping states where we have Lagos, we have Abeokuta. For me, I think that that would have maybe they were, but since it's the first quarter, still the first quarter, come on, let's give him some slack.
All right, let's see how it goes. The Athletic Federation of Nigerian President Tinubu Kokowa led an inspection tour of the facilities alongside the Federation Technical Director Gabriel Kohn, the Federation Scribe Israel Wang, and the athletes representative. The visit was aimed at ensuring that the stadium and supporting infrastructure meets the standards required for high-performance training ahead of the crucial competitions. A major boost to the camping program is the support of the Delta State Governor, with Delta State Governor Right Honorable Sharif Francis approving the use of the facilities at the Stephen Keshi Stadium free of charge. The gesture further reinforced Delta State's reputation as a strong supporter of sport development in Nigeria, and the camping exercise, according to the Athletic Federation of Nigeria, will be conducted in phases and closely supervised by the Federation's technical committee to ensure effective monitoring, proper conditioning, and gradual build-up of athletes across different events and age categories. Let's quickly move down to the Commonwealth Games now, as we hear a total of 32 Nigerian athletes, 16 females and 16 males, will commence a 6-week camping exercise in Asaba, Delta State, as preparations intensify for the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. The athletes drawn from track and field events, including sprints, relays, jump and throws, arrive at the camp over the weekend for the first phase of the Athletic Federation of Nigeria's build-up program. The Asaba camp is designed to fine-tune fitness levels, improve technical execution, and foster team cohesion ahead of international competition. Temple, let's talk about the Commonwealth Games. Preparation is in top gear for the Commonwealth Games this time around. Do you think we have what it takes this time to make an impact at the Commonwealth Games?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I say because against it takes 4 years to prepare for Commonwealth Games. And we talked about this in last year. Remember, in some of our shows, we talked about it. Yeah, that when you talk about the preparations, even for African Games, which is 2 years, even for any national games, it takes you at least 1 year. So if you want to win, for example, you want to win the National Sports Festival, a gold medal in the National Sports Festival, it should take you 1 year after that one ended. If you're an athlete, if you're a federation or a state, if you want to win something at a biennial competition, you need to start preparing. You need to start. That means you need to look at the talent, the age grade. Have we done that? Till today, like I'm speaking to you right now, we are still battling with the issue of athletic roster cloud or cloud athletics roster. We're still battling with whether we're going to go with it. Some stakeholders saying no, yes or that. We're still battling with the athletics integrity unit, sporting 7 of our athletes, for age falsification and all that. That is the time we're still battling right now. And Come on, these are distractions. How far have our athletes, except those ones who individually are preparing, except those ones, so what is the level of the federation? The level of achievement of athletes in that level of federation is dependent on the preparation. Because those who do not prepare to fail. And that's the simple truth. That is the simple truth. And I think that I am hopeful that yes, maybe we can get pieces of medals from some of athletes who are internally preparing or who behind the scene in the various corners are doing so well. I won't take nothing for granted. Some of the athletes have really improved. And Ekwache, for example, if he has to compete, we have seen what he's been doing in recent times. So individually, the athletes are preparing, yes, but collectively, what is the level of preparations? So if you ask me, I think that we are not well prepared, and it's unfortunate. It is very unfortunate, very very unfortunate.
Very, very unfortunate down there. We'll keep our fingers crossed and see if the athletes will be able to put up something huge, at the end of the day. Commonwealth Games just by the corner, and we hope they get the best of preparation heading down to that one. Let's talk boxing a bit on the show as the Nigerian Boxing Federation has unveiled the list of boxers to fly the country's flag at the African Boxing League. The inaugural event will kick off in April and will feature pugilists from over 20 African nations. In readiness for the championship, the Nigerian Boxing Federation Technical and Tournament Committee have listed 41 boxers to represent the country across the various weight categories. Others are Coach Gift Otonye, Alice Olumbungu, and Coach Mary Ekbo. The draws for the league will be held in March, and Team Nigeria will travel to other nations for their away bout, while their home fixtures would be staged in Nigeria. The Vice President of the Nigerian Boxing Federation, Honorable Omo Ale Imadu, said the boxers will resume camping later this month ahead of the tournament. Over about 40 boxers are to compete in this one. Tempo, how prepared is our boxing federation? Of course, we talk about boxing not being on a very impressive, states here in Nigeria. But this time around, it looks like, they are trying to, change the narrative. What do you make of this setup from the Boxing Federation?
I think that it's a new dawn. It's a new dawn because we get to see activities of boxing when it comes to this January. We just finished January, and then we're starting to hear about this selection of pool of boxers who will now come to prepare for this particular one. Is good. The maiden boxing league is good because over time we have always clamored that activities of boxing, nothing is really happening. So if the boxing association, the Nigerian Boxing Federation, have deemed it expedient as part of their new revival processes or policy to see that they have a boxing league, come on, we should give them kudos. And I think this will be good. I know that Lagos State is the centerpiece of boxing activities, but then they can see how far they can get it done. I don't know how they're going to structure it. I don't know the policies are lined up around it. But I'm happy to hear this because this is a wake-up call. Now, with this now, on the long run, we're not going to be having boxers who are not prepared. We're not going to be having death of boxers because boxers are everywhere in Nigeria. So what you need to do is to give them good environment, discover them and nurture them. And I think that over the years, we have really, really not done so well in terms of, sporting this talent because they are all over the streets. Some of the fighters we have in the streets can be turned out. And we really have professional boxers. Come on, go to Lagos and see what is happening. Go to the sponsor of the Motion Abdullah set up and see what is happening there. So I think that it is good that I'm having this. For me, I bother less of the policies around it. What I look at is on the long run, the effect of what this will turn to be. I just hope that for the positive we have seen from the Boxing Federation this season, let's continue and let's see how far they can go. For me, at the end of the day, if we have boxers who can represent us at biannual, continental, and global tournament, it's fantastic. After all, in the last 25 years, we have barely not seen much from boxing in Nigeria. So I think it's a good wake up for them, and we need to encourage them with the chunk coming in from the budget or as allocated to them. If they use it effectively or judiciously in planning the federation, fine and good. That's what we crave for. That's what we want, and that's what we want to see every federation, wake up, because it doesn't matter that gone are the areas where you just stay and be taking money. If you don't work, there are people just wait for your time to come. 4 years you are out, and someone else will take over the place. No matter how far, because people are seeing, people are watching, and people are rating.
All right, let's say it goes to Wish Boxing Federation the very best in this one, but let's bring you, some interesting stories coming from tennis this morning. As now, not really an interesting one, especially to say for Team Nigeria, because Nigeria's table tennis icon Aruna Quadri has slipped from his long-held position as Africa's highest-ranked player in the latest International Table Tennis Federation World Rankings. Quadri dropped one place to 34 globally with 875 ranking points, allowing Egypt Omar Assar to reclaim the continental #1 position after climbing to 33 with 976 points. The change marks another chapter in one of African table tennis' most enduring rivalries, with Quadri and Assar having dominated the men's game on the continent for close to a decade. Now, Temple, this might sound huge when it comes to Africa. All right, we're seeing that rivalry between Aruna Quadri and Omar Assar, but not a good one for Nigeria, looking at the fact that our #1 tennis player, Aruna Quadri, has just dropped when it comes to the rankings.
Yeah, no, certainly not a good one. But if you have been following the activities of tennis and look at the performance of Aruna Quadri, you will not be surprised. Recently in Macau, we did not see him do very well. In fact, the WTT, series that started earlier, well, he was not. He was barely. In fact, he barely crossed the first round, because I think he played with was it a Korean that ousted him out. As compared to Omar Assar, who was able to go 1 or 2 steps. So all those things matter. So in the last 3 series, WTT series that I've seen him participated, it's not been easy for him at all. And he's struggling to win games this year. He's really struggling. And you know how tennis can be. Tennis is like the calendar is flowing, and at the end of the month, a new calendar comes. I won't be surprised if he continues his effort, and if he goes deep into some tournaments. You can never tell. It's been difficult for Egypt even to contend with the Asians and the Europeans. Sorry, it's been very difficult for the Egyptians. So let's just hope that Aruna Quadri will be strong, age-wise, and he'll be healthy. I'm not afraid of him reclaiming back his rights. The fear I have is let us not go deeper, away from the ranking tops or the top rankers. And I hope that he can continue to fight back. Fighting back is one thing I hope he can come back, because the difference between them is just barely too, just the ranking is not too far from each other. And that's why it's been so. Yeah, a bad one for us now, but if he consistently, move on. Omar Assar, in age-wise, is lesser, is much younger than Aruna Quadri. So understandably so. We also want to praise Aruna Quadri for his consistency for this long. The question we ask ourselves is, where are others? If Aruna Quadri, something happens to him now, where are others? So for me, instead of fighting and crying that Aruna Quadri has done his best for Nigeria, at this point now, we should now be thinking, who are the young lads who are at the level of the age bracket of Omar Assar to compete for Nigeria? We don't have them. Or is it Omotayo? We don't have them. Kuti. Where are those guys? So my thinking is that for Aruna Quadri has tried, but if his energy and strength can take him one more step, it's just a matter of not June, you will see him bounce back. I can tell you for sure. You will see him bounce back. So I'm not afraid at all that he will overtake Omar Assar. Because Omar Assar too can be very inconsistent. Maybe he started his season very consistently, just maybe. And the point margin is very slim if you look at it. So let's give Aruna some slack and hope that we can even encourage more young talents to come up and do something. Look at Alcaraz. Rafael Nadal, before he retired, he saw what Alcaraz doing. We have seen a lot of Spanish, guys, but only Alcaraz was able to stand tall, and that's what also pushed him. Sure, that also pushed Rafael Nadal to say, okay, let me just retire. Let me allow these young guys to go on. Novak Djokovic is struggling there because somehow he's the most ranked player in Serbian history. And who is coming close to him? Nobody. Swiss when Roger Federer was still on his top gear, he was one pushing the Swiss flag. Now where are others? Nowhere. Same thing happened to Nigeria. So I think that the encouragement should be let us get more younger players who will come up and fill the ranks, so that the pressure will not be on normal Quadri. If by now we have like check now after look at where the second Nigerian ranked player is in the rankings. That tells you where the level of this thing we are. We are top in Africa. Just lost to Egypt now. Look at how many Egypt are closest to us. Look at how many Egyptians are closest to us. And look at the second ranked player in Nigeria. Look at where he's situated. That tells you that come on, we are not doing so well. I won't say it's about talent. I won't say, but I think that what it takes, the federation needs to stand on their foot and push. Look at what the tennis federation, the sister federation is doing. I'm talking about long tennis now. They are striving to get to what is it called? To get to Davis Cup. They're going to play Uzbekistan, this week to see that they qualify to the main draw of Davis Cup. That is how people who are thinking does. Over the years, we have so relied on Aruna Quadri. Even last year, Aruna Quadri came out to express that, come on, this thing I'm doing is my personal fund. It was Oshodi, when he was the president of the NTF, that was pushing this young man to the limelight. Since then, it's been this guy catering for himself, catering for his family too, who also are good tennis players. So, if money is the issue, then we cannot get other players get to the level of Aruna Quadri, because Aruna Quadri has really invested so much in himself. Those investments, can't we get others to be invested too? Can the federation take it as a challenge to say this year we want to invest on 3, 4, 5 athletes to represent us, and then by so doing they will get ranking points. Ranking point is not a child's play. You don't take it for granted, because the moment you lose on ranking point now, Egypt will not be number 1 nation in Africa because their player is number 1 in Africa. That's where my pain comes from. Not even Aruna Quadri. By virtue of not taking over from Aruna Quadri now, Nigeria is now second in Africa and no longer first. So everything that does now is in that line. When they go for team games now, it will be Egypt coming first, before we come in. And that is how it's done. So I really feel bad that the NTF have not still recognized that Aruna Quadri were pressurizing that guy so much. That is why anything happened to him, we feel so bad. But unknown to us that we should have done better to get people that will come in the ranks so that they can take over from him. Unfortunately, in the last 10 years, we have been talking about the same thing over and over again, and it's not good for us.
All right, still talking about other players, we understand the latest rankings also reflect a difficult period for other Nigerian male players. Rising prospect Matthew Kuti slipped 2 places from 182 to 184 following a quiet start to the year. Despite the dip, Kuti, who made a strong impression at the 2024 African Championship, is expected to challenge for higher rankings as he targets qualification for major international events later in the season. Abdul Basit Abdul Fattah also dropped 5 places from 205 to 210, while former African Games gold medalist Olajide Omotayo fell from 234 to 229 as he continues his efforts to rediscover his best form. Youngster Taiwo Mati, regarded as one of Nigeria's prospects for the future, slipped from 228 to 233. Still in his early 20s, Mati has shown promise at international junior events, earning recognition for his speed and agility. And in the women's rankings, Nigeria's leading player Fatima Bello also recorded a slight decline, dropping 3 places from 115 to 118. Despite the setback, Bello remains a key figure in the women's national team, known for aggressive top spin game and consistency at continental competitions. Overall, the February ranking highlights a challenging start to the 2026 season for Nigerian table tennis, with players now looking to regain momentum and ground on both the African and global stages in the upcoming ITTF events. At this point, we'll take a break. When we return, we'll bring you some other interesting stories revolving around the beautiful world of sports. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Yeah, welcome back. Steve Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network. Of course, we'll be bringing you the latest revolving around the beautiful world of sports. And we've been talking about tennis, and time to go down to long tennis this time around as Emma Raducanu fought back from a 5-0 down in the first set to beat Slovenian Kaja Juven in the last 16 of the Transylvania Open in Romania. In a second match, since splitting with coach Francis Roig, Raducanu won 11 games in a row on the way to ensuring a 7-6-6-1 victory. And she will play Poland Maja Walinska in the quarterfinals. Impressive one. It's been a long time we saw Emma Raducanu in the quarterfinals of a particular event. Temple, how do you see her move this time around? You think this could be, of course, a start of a new thing for her?
Yeah, I mean, Raducanu has the fighting spirit. Okay, yeah, she started her coach recently, but then take nothing for granted. I think that she's been able to show that, bearing any injury concern, she's a fine player. The only challenge I have with her is the level of consistency. Now that she's doing so well now, you see, as she goes deep into the tournament now, you just see that something will happen and she's lost out. So I hope that she can continue with this form. At the Australian Open, a lot would have happened. See, sometimes these players suffer from psychological and emotional challenges, not really tactical. And that's why when it's something is affecting them, you see them make drastic decisions that wow people. People look at it as it's not good, but I hope that she can go further into this competition.
All right, let's talk about the Nigerian Premier Football League there, because there's a very, very disturbing situation. As we hear that Kun Khalifat FC have been charged for breaching the MPFL framework and rules after failing to honor their March 24 fixture as Economy Warriors on Monday, February 2nd, 2026. Now, the reason given by the club for failing to honor the match was not accepted by the league body, and as a result, Kun Khalifat FC will forfeit 3 points and 3 goals, which will be awarded to their opponent, Economy Warriors, in accordance to the MPFL framework and rules. Now, the club was also fined 10 million naira for failing to honor their match obligation. This is a suspended sentence for the remaining parts of for the MPFL if no similar breach is committed within the period. Now, Kun Khalifat were given 48 hours from the date of the notice to appeal this sanction. Temple, there's a very disturbing situation. You know, courtesy of this one now, we hear that Kun Khalifat, they are threatening to withdraw from the Nigerian Premier Football League because they gave excuse that we're not going to be able to honor the game against Economy Warriors. But the MPFL board said the excuse is not enough. So they couldn't honor that game, and at the end of the day, they were deducted 3 points and were fined 10 million naira. And they're saying, well, privately owned team, you'll find us like this is too much for us. From the reports I'm getting is that they are threatening to withdraw from the league. What do you make of this situation, as it stands?
Very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. I think that Kun Khalifat, brought this hammer upon themselves. What will make you on earth to appeal for not honoring the match? You don't do that. You don't do that. The league is a professional league. In quotes, you don't do that. A match has been fixed. They even shifted their own to Monday so that they can play. Otherwise, that game would have been played over the weekend. When they came into the season, some of us were asking, do they have the logistic plan? Player Kun Khalifa, do they have what it takes from Owerri to be running around every part of Nigeria? It's coming now. Because it could be a logistic problem, and I don't want to say that in quotes, a lot will have happened, no doubt. But come on, nothing stops you from honoring your game. You need to find ways. And if the MPFL think that competition is not good enough, believe it is not good enough. It's not good enough. Because they would have looked at it and said, okay, why won't you honor? It's not good enough. So I think that they brought the hammer upon themselves, and they cannot leave. They're always threatening. And even if they leave, it doesn't stop. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't change anything. But it's not a good one that things like this will happen in the league. What even gives them the effrontery to threaten and they want to leave? You know what that will imply? That club is gone. It's gone. So I don't think they can. They can do that. They are not threatening. Nothing will happen because every repercussion will be more on them than on the MPFL.
Okay. We also hear that Enyimba players, they're in their, I think, third day strike at this point in time. They are protesting for unpaid match bonuses. There are a lot of issues down there at Enyimba Football Club Temple. The players are protesting that they've not been paid their match bonuses.
For Enyimba, it's uncommon, except when things like this come up open. Yes, there are a lot of restructuring. Part of the restructuring is what you are seeing. Don't forget that the sporting director was removed. Okay, and then the coaches they're not yet to come to terms with one, Emmanuel Bush. So expectedly there's a shake-up. Kanu Anko has not been speaking recently since Evans was not allowed to take over or getting something was not allowed to take over. So I'm not surprised that this is happening. But these players are not coming out just because they won a game at home over the weekend. Let them calm down small now.
Okay.
The club is on restructuring and they should support the club in taking it easy on the club. Just bonuses, not salary, bonuses.
All right.
They will sort it out.
It's going to be Manchester City against Arsenal in the Carabao Cup final. What do you make of it? Arsenal, they've been looking for a title. Now they're in the final of the Carabao Cup. Can they get this one ahead of City?
Early days to say, but I think that Arsenal will be motivated by them being absent from Wembley. They've not played any competition in Wembley since 2020, and this is the second time. And these players are more motivated than ever. You cannot test Arsenal's playing the finals, because they have not played in the final for a very long time. What they've been having is marathon. So these players, I think that they have the mentality to achieving something. Manchester City, at this point, it all depends on who is more hungrier. But I think that Arsenal are more hungrier for cup success than any other clubs. And that will also encourage them to also go further in other competitions that they are.
All right, thank you very much, for joining us this morning. We really do appreciate your incisive analysis on the show.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to be here.
We'll be back by 6 p.m. on Sports Extraordinary to bring you the latest revolving around the beautiful world of sports once again. You can go down to our different social media handle, YouTube, Instagram, X, Facebook as well. The conversation continues right there. My name is Kingsley Manuel. Thanks for watching.